Let's take a look at some trading setups this week that I'm watching. For Brave New Coin, like, subscribe, dislike, comment. Anything you do helps. So everybody's trading style's a bit different. Some people like to massage or manage positions aggressively. Some people, such as myself, prefer to do mostly nothing when the trend is clear. So at this point, I'm looking for the market to tell me a reason to do something. If I'm fully deployed, if I'm all in, chips are on the table, position has been good for a while. We're just doing its thing, right? You can look in Enzyme, you can see exactly when I made all the trades. 14 days ago is the last time I did anything. I bought a bunch of ETH 2 weeks ago, okay? Other than that, I've done nothing. I don't think there's anything to do. Just to show you some evidence as far as not only what I would do, but what I have done. Okay, it's all there on the blockchain. Anyway, so what are we looking for here, right? Targets are high, market is bullish. Every day I wake up, prices are higher. I'm looking for signs of euphoria. I'm looking for signs of overbought. How do you look for that stuff? Well, first you can try to semi-figure out targets and price discovery. You can use fibs, which is what I've done here, and what I will do for all the charts today. It's the easiest thing anybody could do. It's 2 or 3 clicks on TradingView. Use the fib tool, find your high, find your low, and you get a target. Baseline, easiest thing you can do for everything across the board. For BTC, the target is what it is, right? It doesn't matter to me. The numbers, I just know that's where the fibs tell me we're probably going. Should we continue here? So step 1, find a target. Are we in that target yet? No? Okay, I do nothing. Are we still bullish? Well, do we have any divs, any volume problems, any chart pattern issues here? Is there anything that looks alarming in any way? Not yet. We're getting there. We're getting towards volume and RSI bear div potential, but we were in all-time high price discovery. This is not a time to be thinking about whether or not this is a bear div or not. Like, it's got to be obvious. It's got to be typically multi-month or multi-week, such as it was here, where you see rising prices, falling RSI. Are we going to see pullbacks? Yeah. We're going to see pullbacks that are probably going to be lower than anybody's expecting. Yeah. I don't care, right? Like, I'm just looking here and now in the moment as I sit here in this chair. What do I see? I don't see any reason to be worried about anything. This yellow line here is the Kijun on the cloud. I'll show that in a second. That is a buy the dip area should we go that low. You've also got previous resistance hopefully becoming support. You've also got the 200-day moving average here. You've also got 47K as a volume area. You've also got 57K as a volume area. So people ask, should I sell? Where should I buy? Right? There isn't anything to think about. It's all right here. Visually, there's nothing to do but to understand what you're looking at. So 57 is a buy, 53 is a buy, 47 to 51 is a buy, right? Now you can stagger that percentage-wise, stack it mostly on the bottom, stack it a little bit towards the top. That way you at least get a slice if this does get a crazy dip, right? But that isn't the expectation. The expectation isn't we're going to crumble to 53. It's just if we do, so be it. I'll be there. I'll be ready. I'll be in the outfield with the mitt ready, looking at the ball coming my way. Something else you can use for targets, MA multiplier. I talk about this on every video because I think it's amazing. It's the best thing since the cloud that I've discovered on backtesting. It's instantly knowable. You don't have to think about it. Sell zone, buy zone. Has it worked? Yeah. Has it ever been wrong? Not really. Both of these were tops. This didn't end up being an all-time high for the year, but it was a micro top or local top. That was the top. That was the top. This is the 365. If we look at the 230, the 2-year, looks a little bit different. And on backtesting, you kind of have to pick and choose what you care about, what you want to see. People are going to be biased. They're going to use the highest target stuff, right? The 1 year looks like it's showing you a 220K target, which I think is maybe a bit much this cycle, but who am I to say? We'll see what happens when it happens. If we use the 2-year MA multiplier with a pitchfork, if I'm looking for confluence, the pitchfork tells you the rate of change. Anything above 140 to me is in mega uber be careful territory. That probably won't be the very top. Now, this year in January, it was the top when it hit the upper bounds of the pitchfork along with the MA multiplier. Both of these areas are going to move up slowly over time. So the slower we go, the better. But anything above 140 is probably a better time to sell than to buy. Can we go to 220? Can we go to 300? Can we go to 500K? Sure. But let's be realistic here. Historically, that's never happened. Not saying it can't, just saying it hasn't happened like that. Now you can look at maybe the 7x multiplier, or whatever this was on the 2-year. This is where some of the backtesting comes into play. You can keep adding levels here to try to figure out historically where has the exact top been or thereabouts every time. So this does say that above 140, like, if we use back testing for forward testing or whatever, if we can go above 140 and very likely will for possibly a couple months. Is that an expectation? Not really. I don't expect that. I'll believe it when I see it. But collectively, all this tells me, just do nothing. All you have to do is nothing and you will be fine. If you're holding crypto, for the most part, the right non-trash, you'll be fine. Here's the cloud, here's that level again. What you don't want to see is a drift downwards into this Kijun level, because this is going to come up over time, and eventually you'll get a TK across, and then that'll signal this edge to edge. So what you don't want is a repeat of this in the same area, specifically the February to May stuff. You don't want to see that set up. You want to see, no doubt about it, 70K plus at this point. This needs to get moving. Slower the better, yes, but we also don't want to risk this mega mean reversion out to the downside. Does this setup, what it's showing me, make me want to change my positioning in any way whatsoever? No. It's just saying, don't be surprised if you wake up at 53K one day. ETH is just on a whole nother planet. As far as how that chart looks, this is TWAP, VWAP, some sort of WAP, I don't know. A not normal type buying activity. Not something you see every day, right? ETH is kind of known for that, where it's just does stuff that normal markets won't do. BTC was the same, is the same. All of crypto is sort of the same like that. But to see this strength continuous, just diagonal 45 degree, isn't exactly normal unless there's some sort of entity accumulating or just buying, time weighted average price, volume weighted average price, whatever. They're just buying. They don't care what the price is. That's what this looks like to me. So that's fine. So something to watch for is, when does that stop? Because that's going to hurt price, obviously. But do we have a bear div here on volume or RSI? No, not yet. Not really. You could argue a mild bear div on RSI because you're seeing higher highs in price on equal RSI, but I'm not really going to worry about that. We're at all-time high price discovery. If you measure the high to the low using the fibs, you get a target of 6 to 7K. Not there yet. Cool. I do nothing. There's a support at 3K. That's a massive pullback from here. So maybe you set some bids there. Maybe you don't. But in general, there's nothing to do, right? ETH, even on the cloud, looks fine. Supports at around 3,600, 3,700. But what do? Do you just long your longs? I certainly wouldn't be shorting up here. I don't even care what funding is. Doesn't matter to me. Let it get wiped out and washed out every once in a while. The upside is just extremely, extremely more likely than just a massive mega collapse, right? Almost always you will see something at the top, whether it's white coffee and distribution, inverted Adam and Eve, some sort of blow off euphoria wick, shooting star, inverted dragonfly, whatever you want to think about. I personally don't see anything there. When charts do look like this on the daily, I definitely like to go down to the 4-hour and see what's really going on here. Is this following some sort of 4-hour moving average system, alligator, fractal, cloud, whatever, TK cross? And it's following the cloud pretty nicely. It's hugging the cloud. So one other indicator that this thing is tired or the move is over is when this starts to collapse into the cloud. Very likely that when this starts to collapse into the cloud on the 4-hour, you'll see something more obvious and specific on higher time frames telling you, yeah, it's probably the top. In the interim, local top, whatever. Doesn't have to be the top, but the momentum right now is strong, swift. On the 4-hour, it's pretty obvious. So I'll be watching that. ETH on the 365 MA multiplier, not a lot of data. We don't have 10 years of data. We have some data, but not a lot of data. Has this ever been wrong? Not really. Okay, good start. Where's the top currently? 11K. It is what it is from here, percentage-wise. Don't care. It just tells me, do I need to do anything right now? No. In fact, your job is to do nothing. If you've done this right, your job is to do nothing. Maybe you stagger asks, whatever you're comfortable staggering them. If you're staggering bids like on BTC, for example, I assume most people know how this works, but maybe some people don't. If you have a bid zone, you're staggering bids, a little bit here, more here, most of it here. And if you're staggering asks on ETH, for example, you're putting a little bit at 7,500, a little bit at 8,500, a little bit at 9,500, a little bit at 10K, a little bit at 11K, most of it at 11K plus, right? So you're always getting out a little bit. And that's my plan, or at least that would be my plan. If that's not your plan, that's okay, but that's a plan. As long as you have a plan, that's all that really matters. EPTC, kind of interesting. The chart always looked like puke, more so lately than maybe historically. At least it was discernible puke before, but now it's just sideways, random walkie. Maybe you could argue ascending triangle. Maybe you could argue inverted head and shoulders. Maybe you could argue flag, pennant. I don't know. Let's just use the fib thing and measure right high to low. Okay, great. We get a 0.1 target. The expectation isn't bullish or bearish reversal just yet. It's still in consolidation fact-finding phases for me. EPTC has never outperformed BTC in Q4, so I'm not expecting a miracle here, but the technicals are pointing to higher for sure. Bids at 05, bids at 04, boom, you're done. There's the VPVR levels, there's your MAs. This is the Kijun on the cloud. Not much else to really do there or say. And ultimately, again, you're looking for failures of consolidation or failures of continuation. Here's an example on the silver chart. You get this multi-year consolidation, beautiful textbook white coffee and accumulation, markup, more consolidation before what should have been markup, and you get a failure at the support. So what you don't want to see for EPTC is any lower low. Boom. That's all there is to it. Here's another example on BTC, white coffee and accumulation, multi-month. You got your breakup, reconsolidation, ascending triangle, which had a bullish bias. The whole time as we were watching this consolidate, it was always, are we making higher lows? Are we making higher lows? Okay, good. We're still on track. We're still on track. The moment we didn't or don't, in BTC's case, then that whole bias is in trouble. Moving on to some other stuff. Solana 12 hour still looks phenomenal. I like the MA multiplier on this because it kind of told you the exact tops so far. Currently that's 480. So that's a pretty decent upshot from here for Solana. I wouldn't expect more than that. Can it go to 16,000? Sure. But 480 is the mathematical target based on backtesting. Here's the fib stuff. High and low, you get a target of around 260 to 300. And that's more so the very near term stuff. These MA multipliers are like cycle tops. So we're not quite to the cycle top yet, but we're getting close to the near term need a reconsolidation because we're in the previous consolidation's target, that sort of thing. Bids around 200 based on the cloud, based on volume. Looks good to me. But otherwise, there's not really much to be done or said there. More so of a bear div here on volume on our side than ETH and BTC, but I don't really think it's anything too crazy. The exchange tokens have actually been doing quite well, at least some of them, kind of random, but FTT has had really a multi-month consolidation in this area. It made a higher high, made a new all-time high, pulled back a bit. Is this a like crazy rising cup and handle thing? I don't know. But if we're just looking at targets, take some high, some low. If you want to be generous and less conservative, you can take this high and this low. You can take this high and this low, but all that will give you slightly different targets around essentially $100. I think this thing is going to $100. I really do. Trend metrics look really good. You're about to get a bullish TK cross with price above the cloud. That is the single most bullish signal in the cloud system. So the expectation is heavy bullish continuation for FTT, and I like 100 as the target. CRO, crypto.com, has exploded recently. Same thing, take the high, take the low. We're actually in the consolidation target, the previous consolidation target anyway, already. So can these always go higher? Yeah, but I don't always expect, this is a crazy move over a couple days, right? Let's say a 2x in a week and a half. Am I going to expect another 5x from here immediately? No, this thing probably needs to relax a little bit. BNB is another one that's well on its journey for 1K target. Now, FTT to 10, BNB to 1K. It had a multi-month consolidation. This triangle thing, it tried to break down on some sort of head and shoulders thing. Tried to break up, it didn't. But since October, it's been well above the resistance levels. It looks decently fine. Now, if it stalls out here, I like 500 as a bid area based on the Kijun. But as we sit in the moment here, I like the $1,000 target on any price discovery. OKB for a Chinese exchange token looks decent for continuation here. Just on trend. The chart is a hot mess, but on trend it looks okay. HT Huobi token looks less bullish than OKB. Doesn't make sense to me why either of these are as bullish as they are if they're shutting down the exchanges and whatever else, but they may just be benefiting from sector strength. Here's KuCoin, all-time high this week as well, very similar to CRO.com. So I don't know if this is lesser exchanges catching up with BNB and FTT and BNB lagging, I don't know if there's going to be some sort of rotation between CRO, KCS, and FTT to BNB. I have no idea, but all of these are looking particularly strong over the past week. Now the DeFi exchange tokens, not so much, not yet. I think those are still fine, but they're not as bullish as this stuff, which is all in price discovery. For this one, I like 30 as a target. KuCoin. And then something else that kind of looks like all these charts, which I haven't really seen too many people talk about, is Tesla. The chart looks very similar to various stages of all the charts I just showed you, in that it had this pullback, this reconsolidation, and using fibs, again, I told you where it was probably going to go. So if you had watched the legacy videos that I do on Thursdays, I had been talking about this, but this is just to get people to have buy-in for this idea that, yeah, fibs actually are useful at giving you price targets. Lastly, I'll just mention the EPTC fund and DeFi portfolio I trade for Techme Capital on Enzyme.finance, a non-custodial portfolio management tool where you can send ETH or USDC, or just watch what I'm doing. You can see everything, including AUM performance, allocation here. You can see we have that CRO token. We were a little ahead of the game on that one, thankfully. Currently the highest allocation. But you can see all the other DeFi stuff we have here on Yearn, Comp, and Aave as well in the vaults. And you can always see the trades in the trades tab down below. That's all I have for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.